Hey, it's Jerry. Long time no see, right? Uh, Normally I talk about tech stuff, but I'm a photographer. I don't know if you know that. You probably don't. You've been following this channel. Why are you following this channel? I hardly post anything. It's usually about Photoshop or something. But I'm getting back into film photography out of nostalgia because I started with film photography way back in the day. I started with a Canon FTB that I borrowed from my dad. And apparently he was impressed enough to just say, just use it, So I kind of took it over. But after I started making money with it, I got my own camera, and the camera was at the time a brand new high-tech camera. It was a Canon EF. It's a beautiful old camera. And let me tell you about it. Okay. So the Canon EF, and this isn't the actual original one I had. This is one I bought off of eBay about a month ago. But fortunately, it works perfect. The original one I sold to buy a Canon F1, which I still have. But anyway, so the Canon EF is it's kind of high tech for the time because it was automatic. And it was automatic in that you set the speed you want and it would automatically adjust the aperture. Now, I know in modern cameras, in digital cameras, usually you want to set the aperture and and then set limits on the speed and the ISO and everything and and let the camera figure out the speed you want to go, right? Well, in the film days, ISOs were very limited, and the way like right now, well, I mean even back then, the fastest I normally would shoot would be ISO 400, which today in today's terms that's really slow, but back then that was fast for a film, and so I would set it for ISO 400, and I would want the speed to be fast enough to freeze everything and it wouldn't get blurry, and so this camera would automatically set the aperture, which you'd have to watch if you wanted to control your depth of field. Now you can on this camera take it off of automatic, which is that little silver button there. And then you could set the aperture wherever you want, and then it becomes fully manual. But the beauty of this was because my other camera was, and even the F1 was fully manual. This was I would set the speed and then not worry about it and just make sure I focused it because this is not autofocus. You got to focus it. So I loved this camera. And when I sold it, I was kind of sad that I sold it because going from an FTB, which was fully manual, to this, and then going to the F1, which was the pro camera, but it was fully manual. I missed the fact that this thing would take care of some of the worry for me and I could just concentrate on getting the shot, right? So, anyway, I digress. I bought this about a month ago out of nostalgia because I have an FTB, I have my original Canon F1, and a long time ago I had sold my original F1. This is kind of a story circle here, to buy a Canon A1. And then a couple of years ago, the good friend I had sold it to found it in his garage and he sent it back to me. That's why I still have it. But I wanted to get the gang back together again. So I bought an EF and I bought an A1. And unfortunately, the A1 has problems. So I'm going to have to deal with that. And I'll discuss that later in another video. But I bought this one and it works perfect. It's perfect. I'll put some of the images up that I've taken on it, even with just the test rolls that I put through it. I'm like, this is great. And also, I gotta say, my favorite films used to be, and I was like, we're talking black and white because I used to have a dark room and I didn't do color. Ilford HP4, and then later HP5, and now there's HP5 Plus. If you love grain and you love the old, black and white gnarly, this is like the real thing, black and white monochrome image, those are the ones to go through. But Ilford has come out with another one that's new to me. It's called XP2, that is developed with the C41 process that is usually done with color. And those images are so sharp and just love them. I mean, I would love those if they were coming out of my digital camera. So anyway, again, I digress. So I bought this because I want to tell you about a little problem that some of you might have if you end up one of these, or if you already have one of these. Okay, so there's a little diode here. Let's see if you can see it. It's not going to be lit now because I don't have the batteries in it, and I'll tell you why. After a while, this diode came on. It's a little red light, and it's not supposed to stay on. And it would come on even if, you see right here, there's an, focus, there's an on-off switch. You have to make sure to turn this camera off, all right? Because this thing is an electronic camera. And again, that was a new thing back then. That diode is not supposed to come on when the camera is off, and it would come on and stay on. That diode is for checking the batteries. You'd push this little button on the bottom here. Focus, focus. You push that button and the diode will come on and tell you your batteries are okay. And the other reason this diode would come on is if you set the self timer, you're going to take it, focus, set this and like take a selfie, and then it would start blinking like, okay, we're counting down. And then right before it take the picture, it would blink really fast, and that's when you know it's about to take a picture and it's time to smile. I'm ready. And it would take the picture. So that worried me that this was starting to come on, even though the pictures and everything were coming out perfect, and the metering's working fine, and the shutter was working fine. It's got an electronic shutter, by the way, which goes all the way to 30 seconds. You can see that. That is unusual, and you have to use the battery to get to that. You could take some astral photography for this thing. Anyway, put it back to where it was. Through some deep research, I found out that my watch is telling me it's time to go to bed. Go to bed. No, it's Saturday. I can stay up as late as I want. I'm an adult. Anyway, so I'm sorry. I'm being silly. Anyway, I found out that in most cases, the reason this light would come on, so if you have an EF and it's coming on and it's worrying you, it's because there's a capacitor in here that is leaking. And it's leaking because it's 50 years old. It's tired. It's a tired old thing. It's like, oh, what do you expect from me? And it doesn't hurt anything. And everything works fine, but it leaks and it makes this come on. And the only bad thing that would happen is it will drain these batteries a lot faster than they should. So the fix is to take the batteries out if you're not using the camera. And while I'm talking about the batteries, let's talk about the batteries. Another thing I love about this camera is, unlike all the other cameras, or at least most of the other cameras from this era that used, and including this one, used mercury batteries that were outlawed because they had mercury in them. They were 1.35 batteries, 1.35 volt batteries. And if you put a modern equivalent in here, they're 1.5 volt. The 1.5 volt batteries in an old camera will screw up your metering, and the the metering will be off, and so your exposure will be off. That's a downside, and there's workarounds for that, but they're a pain in the butt. With this camera, and apparently this camera only, as far as I've read, it has a voltage regulator in it. And the voltage regulator makes it so that you can put 1.5 batteries in here. And it doesn't matter because the voltage regulator will step it down to 1.35 volts and everything works perfect. So that's another reason, if you're going to get an old film camera, especially if you want to get the Canon, I recommend the EF. Now, otherwise, get the AE1 or the A1. I really recommend the A1 if you get a working one, which I didn't get because mine has something screwed up with it. It takes a modern battery that goes, where is it? I think it goes on this side. That's another video. But anyway, it takes a modern battery that you can put in there, and don't worry about it. But if you're going to get an older camera, like an AE1, FTB, or an AV, or an EF, or a F1, you have to worry about that. But, and I said the EF. No, you don't have to worry about it if it's the EF. So anyway, that's why I wanted to bring this to your attention. This is my favorite, at this moment, my favorite film camera. And I love it. Mwah. Chef's kiss. Now, I'll show you some of the pictures again, and take care. Like and subscribe, all that stuff if you want more, because I'm going to do more camera stuff here, because that's what I'm into at the moment. Bye.